Good evening, guys. How are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin evening wrap. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that like button, and we will go straight over to those Bitcoin charts. So yeah, as you can see, Bitcoin on the 4 hour. Yeah, we are hanging around at that support zone. We did have a little foray below it, getting as low as nearly 12,700, but that was quickly brought back up, which is a pretty bullish sign. A $200 move back up. So that just shows that there are people wanting to buy into this market, and there are people people trying to work shorts that were obviously quick to take profits or quick to get out of positions. So yeah, that is just typical of what you would expect when you do get a prolonged a no chill move to the upside like we've been having, with no real back tests, no real pullbacks. There are people trapped, and that's obviously why you get these accelerated moves to the upside when they stop out or get liquidated, and that's why when you do get a move down, people are quick to buy that up, either to cover shorts or just to get long if they want more long exposure. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Again, after such a prolonged sharp move up that we've had, we wouldn't expect this just to turn around on a dime. I know obviously we're talking about Bitcoin and we can get Bart Simpson moves, Bart moves, but this is a bit more of a macro move, a bit more of a regular sort of move rather than the scammy sort of Bitcoin move. So yeah, this is looking good. Like I said, the ideal scenario is for us to drift up to around 14k and then just consolidate in this zone, putting a nice base here before we basically head to 20k. Let's have a look at that dollar index. As you can see, had its nice little bounce up there off the low. Looking like now obviously it's put in a lower high, obviously after putting in a lower low here. So this is looking good from a we want it to go down perspective anyway. So yeah, take out this low here. I mean, there isn't a lot, guys. There really isn't a lot. Even if we are just coming for this trend line coming down here, but that trend line there will probably end up meeting price action about 88, which is what we have been looking at. Obviously we've got this trend line drawn in here, this thicker one, which yeah, I mean, that has been important. We've rode it down here, then broke above it, and then tested at support and then bounced off it. So yeah, but if you actually look at the gradient of this line, it's even more aggressive than this one. So depending on where price action meets it, I mean, it's still going to probably be in about the 88s. So for me, that is still a target. The 88s to two fat ladies. I don't know if you guys aren't in England, whether you get that reference to bingo. If you're not, you probably think what is this guy talking about? But yeah, 88s. So if we get down there, then things will be looking good, and then that'll be another point where, I mean, we could potentially get a trend reversal, or we could get like a nice bounce off there, maybe even back up to around the 91 levels under here, depending on what other structures we may form in price action on a potential move down here. I'm sure you understand what I mean. I'm sure you do. But yeah, so that's kind of what we are looking at in the dollar index, and that is obviously our main driver here. Stocks, as you can see on the 4 hour here, you can see they are not really doing a lot, to be honest. They are not doing a lot. I mean, we're in a descending channel, quite possibly. We can probably get rid of these trend lines now, but should we get? Yeah, we'll leave that one. No, we'll leave them in. We will leave them in. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, stocks are just caught in a bit of a range. This is kind of what I was kind of expecting. Maybe the S&P to push up a bit higher than this, but maybe it still will do that. But yeah, pretty much ranging. Nasdaq as well, as you can see, is pretty much coming down to this level we've got joining here. So if this is a back test, are we going to get picked up here? This is the ideal level for the Nasdaq to get picked up at, and if it doesn't, then I mean, realistically we'll be seeing these lower levels here. Euro US dollar, obviously just the inverse of the DXY pretty much. It is looking to make a nice move up towards the top of the range though. In much the same way, we are watching for the DXY to make a nice move down to the bottom of this range here. BTC dominance. You always get these crazy wicks in this price. Don't even ask me why we get this, but yeah. You can kind of see it's kind of messing our chart up a little bit here, to be honest. So we will leave that one for the time being, and then we'll have a quick look at gold and silver. Yeah, gold. I mean, gold not looking the most ideal here, especially with the dollar index coming down as well. You would probably expect more buying pressure here, which is interesting. Obviously, we know we've got the market manipulators hate these metals, and they do smash them when they can. But ultimately, there should be enough buying pressure in these. But yeah, silver is not looking as bad as gold though. Looking at a more constructive trend line. This is obviously why the gold-silver ratio, as you can see, is still moving in a general down direction. So yeah, back over to Bitcoin anyway. Now we've had our little macro wander around some other world markets. But yeah, back to Bitcoin. That daily, this is kind of what we kind of may be looking at. This daily. Daily 9 coming in at around anywhere in the zone, so around 14k. That is what I'm thinking. That is my inclination. And then sideways to down, probably come back and test 13k and just form a new range in this 13 to 14k. And failing that, my second most likely scenario is we fall below and we form a range between 12 and 13k. Build a base here, then break back up. But I do think this momentum, this expansion in volatility has got enough juice to keep us in this 13 to 14k range, notwithstanding any major market shocks. So yeah, we'll have a look at the obviously elections. Well, the actual main election is relatively soon, isn't it? But obviously people are still voting now anyway. But yeah. Stochastics wise, yeah, 4 hour coming down nicely here. A nice as it stands, a nice bullish reset with price action roughly holding its own as we can see. 10 hour, yeah, 10 hour holding up there. 12 hour still holding up there as well. Daily pointing up still. 2 days sort of curling over, and then obviously we know the rest of these are all looking good. So I mean, this is kind of what is making me expect we can get into this zone here and just trade in this 13 to 14k, and then build up a bit of momentum, and then yeah, even then actually maybe trade lower after we put in some work up here, or the big one is basically break above it. And once we break above into the 15ks, then we'll get 20k pretty soon, and then 20k plus, and 22k, 25k, and so on and so on, and then that'll be it. Everyone will be FOMOing back into Bitcoin, as they always do when we get basically to the crazy levels and a lot of excitement and interest. So yeah, I mean, that is pretty much it really for this video, guys. Obviously, it is now the weekend. The weekend of wonderful price action for us. So yeah, usually sideways price action at the weekend anyway. Major markets have closed okay realistically, so there's nothing really to be too afraid of. Obviously, we know we could get the stimulus announced at any point, maybe even over the weekend, maybe before markets open. But yeah, I mean, realistically, sideways markets, to be honest, guys. And we are, I mean, this 13k is a pretty important level. So if we do decide we want to break below, we're quite probably going to make quite a big move down. So I don't think that would happen over the weekend. And then, yeah, I mean, what is more likely is we do just get some forays into the 13Ks again, but ultimately just find ourselves around this same level until we get some proper direction from proper markets on Monday. So yeah, that is it, guys. Remember, this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research. Thanks for listening, and I will speak to you guys in the morning.